Good evening, friends. Good evening and welcome. Gosh, so happy to see you all here. Let me take a quick swig. I've been eating pecans, and they kind of dry my throat out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, listen, tonight's class or tonight's discussion on this chapter of the book isn't really that long. It's preparing for wild events, natural events. So we've got specific threat prepping. Tonight we're talking about tornadoes and severe storms. So we've seen enough of that, especially up, as a result of the Hurricane Helene and things like that. All the flooding that happened in North Carolina, that's terrible. I tell you, I did some consulting work for a company called Arvin Meriter, and they're based in they're in Asheville. Gorgeous place. I really enjoyed my time there. Had some pretty good food too. But they were kind of in the juncture of two different valleys. I have a feeling they probably got washed away, but Arvin Meriter builds the axles for all of the 18-wheelers, both the trailers as well as the tractors. And so they build those axles. They have three different factories there in Asheville. One's down on the plains south of the airport, and then there were two that were probably within a mile and a half of each other on the side of the mountain. And I would not be surprised if they didn't wash away, but gosh, that's a gorgeous area. We're going to talk about tornadoes and storms. But before we do that, I want to kind of do some public service announcements, if you don't mind. I'm finding all kinds of phenomenal Black Friday deals, and they're starting early. They are already in effect now. You can take advantage of it. Some great prepping stuff. Hey, Pete, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. So anyhow, what I would like to do is I'd also like to invite a special friend, Methane Creator. He sends me so much great information email-wise. So a lot of times you'll see things coming up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share one with you today that he sent me earlier today that I think is extremely valuable. Let me see if I can present, share screen. And I strongly recommend, he sent me this one earlier, either last night or earlier today. This is something you really need to just go to the website, and the website is, let me see here, durationhealth.com, DURATION health.com. But this is a doctor's website, and he's giving all kinds of information on how to handle various first aid and the medical emergencies and things in a post-apocalyptic world. He's got all kinds of kits. He's got stuff equivalent to the Jace case and equivalent to contingency medical, just a lot of good stuff. I don't get a penny if you go there. I was very impressed. I like the fact that he had a lot of great online, this is what you do to treat this specific thing. And so if you have a need for assistance in coming up with some sort of medical treatment in a post-apocalyptic world, and we still have the internet, then this is a great place to go. So thank you, Methane Creator, for sending that to me. Durationhealth.com. Everybody, please go to that website and, at least go to the website and check them out so that you see all the stuff that's available to them. Let me see. Okay, so the next one is, I did Duration Health. Yeah, we can eliminate that one. Then Thrive Life has their 50% off Black Friday sale starting today. And you can do that through my website if you want to. And that's Lee's Prep, LEESPREP.thrive, THRIVE, life, LIFE.com. And there's a lot of items up to 50% off. That really good savings for Black Friday. I strongly recommend that if you're going to do that, also subscribe. Don't just do a one-time deal. If you do subscription services and it's over $99, then you get free shipping. So I think that's something you could do there. Let me see. Scott Hummer. Am I missing anybody? I got to go down here and Holly Ivans. Welcome. Good evening. Diana too. Theoxerus, good evening. Good to see you, my friend. Solo Stove has their solo stoves. And remember, we're going to be without, if we do have this happen, we will be without electricity. We will be without gas, natural gas, eventually propane and all the other things that we have as far as hydrocarbons, fuels, will eventually go out. So you're going to need something like a solo stove. They have their little gasifiers as well as their bonfire stoves. Great savings, 50% off with them. I strongly recommend them. I like freeze-dry wholesalers. They do all the freeze-dry foods for the submarines and the military and stuff like that. Good quality stuff. Really good. It's a little bit on the pricey side. I must admit that. I do have the things that I have from them. I have meatballs, sausage, hamburger patties, a couple steaks, some freeze-dried pork chops. But anyhow, all this week, they're running buy one, get one free. So today's special is seasoned chicken strips. Buy one bag of seasoned chicken strips, and I think they're about $49 for about a pound, and you get one bag free. And they have a standard shipping rate. I forget what it is, but that's another great company that you might want to. Let me see. Do I have a tab on them? What do I have tabs on here? Oh no, that's okay. My Medic and My Patriot Supply. Okay, here's another great website I think that you all need to take a look at. So, share screen. Yeah, here we go. So this is trueprepper.com. He has all kinds of links to Black Friday deals. He has all kinds of links to different information. It's a fantastic website, trueprepper.com, trueprepper.com. I'm looking right now at his Black Friday prepping page. So he's got contents for Black Friday prepping deals like you would not believe. Hydrocolloid dressing for first aid, $8. Gauze roll, a 24-pack of gauze for $9. That's 33% off. No-touch thermometer, 60% off. A 2-pack of Israeli bandages, about 20% off. Pulse oximeter, about 50% off. Clozex laceration strips. And those are the ones that I really like. Those are the ones where you put the. These are the ones where they're kind of like Ziplocs. They have a piece of tape on each side of the wound. Then you pull it together like a zip stitch. Really great piece of gear. You don't have any more incursions into the body, so there's no more opportunity to have major problems with puncture wounds or anything like that. Just a lot of great stuff. So go to that website and you can check out all of his stuff. I just really like what he's showing there as far as all kinds of great stuff. Okay. Did I do that? Yeah, I did that. Okay. Stop sharing. And we'll get rid of that one. Okay, the next one is My Medic. Now, I am affiliated with My Medic, but I love his stuff, okay? I have the My IFAC, and I'll show you that. That's on sale. It's got a nice little, oops, I hit the wrong button. Present. I hit invite instead of present. So we're going to share screen, and we're going to go to first aid kits and first aid supplies from My Medic. So My Medic has a lot of great stuff going on as well, up to 60% off. So if you go to the first aid kits, I have the My IFAC. My IFAC, this one over here. View tab. Okay, so I have this one here. The one on the far right, the MyFac, and what did I pay for it? $149, I think. I did a video of this one when I first got it. Really like it. All of his stuff is color coded. You open it up, you know exactly what you're looking at, whether it's trauma, burn, abrasion, contusion, incision, whatever. You know what you're working with based upon the color of the tab that you're inside the first aid kit. Everything is laid out so well. The only thing I don't like about the kit is I don't care for his tourniquet that much, but that's an easy replacement. I also, when you have something this small, you aren't going to get some of the other things that I really, really like to have with my first aid kit. Hello, Scott, Muskoka, Oma, and Murphy. Good evening. Happy to see you all. Some things that I have in addition to that I've added to it: an Israeli 4-inch and an Israeli 6-inch. It does have a good wound, sucking chest wound seal in this my IFAC first aid kit. I also like to add the SAM splint. I think SAM splints, I wish we'd had them when I was driving ambulances. SAM splints are the best thing for splinting a broken bone that I've seen in a long time. I prefer them to air splints, but you can form it to almost any shape you want. You can immobilize a wound like you would not believe. A break, really good piece of gear. I strongly recommend SAM splint. Add that to this my FAC, add the Israeli dressing, add a good tourniquet, and you've got probably everything you're going to need for a post-apocalyptic world. So let me see, stop sharing. Now I will show you what Helen has given me permission to purchase for Christmas for myself. And I am so happy with this. So here is my 50-watt all mode. It's got, so it goes HF, which is from 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz, and then 50 megahertz, which is a specific band for voice only. 144 megahertz, which is the beginning of the handy talkie. So that's, I didn't hit this. I need to do that. There we go. So what it doesn't, so it goes from 3 to 30. That's the HF. And that's usually going to be single sideband. 50 megahertz is going to be FM. 144 and 430 are the two bands that are associated with this radio. The Baofeng UV5R handy talkie. So the 144 is the VHF spectrum of the Baofeng, and then the 430 megahertz is the UHF spectrum. Both of those are frequency modulated FM. So this is a 50-watt base station for all of those. And I'm going to have to get a decent antenna. I'm probably going to get an in-fed, and I'm probably going to get a vertical antenna with a ground plane. But this will go around the world. So, I'm really, really happy with that. So thank you for that, Helen. That's going to be my Christmas present this year. Let me see. So I got rid of that one. I did the MyFac. Okay. We're whittling down these tabs, people. We're going to get down here to where, okay, we got one more tab I want to show you on some great deals that are coming up. And then we will get into the actual contents of tonight's video. But I got an invitation just recently. And I guess it's because I've spent so much money with them. I bought from this company, I purchased my InstaFire Vesta, which is the heater. Then it uses 3 safe heats. And I convinced a friend of mine to buy one, 2 years ago, right before Snowmageddon here in Austin. And he lives in a manufactured home. And so using that Vesta in his manufactured home, in his bedroom, even though it was minus 20 outside, he kept that room at 57 degrees using the Vesta InstaFire. So he was very happy that I had talked him into buying it. And I have one here. You can also use it as a warmer, not as a cooker, but as a warmer. You have to get a stronger thermal, what do they call them? The little cans of fuel. There's other ones that are hotter. These are just the Duraflames for the basically what they use for chef stations when they're keeping your eggs and everything warm while you're going through the line at the hotel. But anyhow, so it's a warmer, not a cooker, and but you can keep coffee or a soup or something like that warm. You can probably warm up some water for soup or coffee, but it's not going to be hot. It's going to be warm. Just be aware of that. But I bought that. I also bought my InstaFire oven from them. I bought, what else have I bought from them? Oh, they have these. Let me see if I can't find them here for you. View tab. Okay, there we go. So let me go over here. I want to show you these. They have the best P51s on the market. If I can find, there they are, right here. These right here. Look at I love the way they did the handles on these. They don't hurt you when you're trying to open a can. You need the P51s for number 10 cans. The P38s, the smaller ones, are great for the 10.5 ounce, number 2.5, or number 1 cans. Number 10 can, they just can't get in there. With these can openers, these big handles, and they're easy to operate, and they also have a deeper cut. Fantastic for number 10 cans. But there's 3 foods that I order only from this company. I want to share those with you. So, and I haven't put my link or anything up here yet. I'm just now going through the training. They've asked me to be a representative for them because I buy so much from them. But let me go back here, and I want to show you these 3 foods that I think they have them. I haven't seen them anywhere else. I'm happy with the quality of them. I think they're just great foods. Maybe I'll put links up on them tomorrow. But they have a traveler stew, they have a corn chowder, and they have Boston baked beans. If I can find these here for you real quick. There's the traveler stew. So the traveler stew is it's a meatless stew, but it is a pretty good stew. Okay, it's a pretty good vegetable stew. I like that one. Okay, I also like their Boston baked beans. And we'll find that down here somewhere, I hope. Oh, there they are. They call them barbecue baked beans. I'm sorry. Barbecue baked beans. Those are good. And just straight out of the can. I mean, no cooking required. Just add hot water. Bang, bingo, bango. You got it. Remember that first week or 2 after SHTF when you really want to be odor conscious, you want to be light conscious, noise conscious. You want to have all these disciplines in place because everybody around you is going to be going crazy. You want to hunker down inside your home, and you want to have food that you don't have to cook. So this stuff, all you do is heat the water, add it to it, let it seep for a while, and you got a meal. The barbecue baked beans are phenomenal. I like those. And then, of course, the third one I like from them is corn chowder. What I have been doing for corn chowder is I get the Bear Creek potato chowder and then add corn to it. But this is far, far better. This is a specific corn chowder. There it is. So this one I really, really like as well, their corn chowder. So those are the 3 foods I strongly recommend from them as far as ready R foods. So now that I've got all that taken care of, we can get into what we're going to be studying tonight. See if there's any questions. All right. Let me catch up on the chat. I probably would not want to use road flares. I mean, the temperature's right, but it's too uncontrolled. You're not going to be able to cauterize the way that you would like to. I prefer a little bit more delicate cauterization. I would probably use a knife point or something very sharp if I was going to do any cauterization in a post-apocalyptic world. I probably would not want to use anything where it's uncontrollable flame. I would want to control that heat very delicately. The very first, when I drove ambulances, the very first ambulance run I went on involved cauterization. And it took us almost a week to get that smell out of the back of the ambulance. But this guy and his girlfriend had a teenage daughter. The girlfriend caught him messing around with his teenage daughter. She pretended like there was nothing wrong. And they got ready to do their makeup, and she whipped out a knife and just cut it off. I had a compress on him, and we were only like 5 blocks from the hospital, thank God. We called it in. I had a compress on him, and we didn't even leave the ambulance. The surgeon came out, the ER doctor came out with a cauterizing iron and cauterized him right there in the ambulance. I mean, that was a stinky thing. And you talk about painful. I mean, when you got a cauterizing iron going to your groin, that is painful. I imagine having had his groin cut off was painful, but this was really bad. And so, but also just the smell. It took a week to get rid of that smell out of the ambulance. We put it out of service. We couldn't drive it. It smelled that bad. You're going to do more. My rule of thumb is don't do anything unless you're not going to do any damage. If you can do something without doing a lot more damage. Now, there's one exception. I'm going to clarify this. There's one exception where if you're doing it right, you're probably going to do damage, but it is repairable damage versus irreparable damage. And that is, if you're doing CPR correctly, chances are you're going to break a rib or two or three. That's just because you're depressing the sternum so far. And so you're probably going to crack a couple ribs, but that's okay. If you're bringing the person back to life and you crack a couple ribs, I can live with that. But when you're cauterizing with a road flare, you're talking about a large burn area where you probably just need a pinpoint burn. And so I would say that there's probably a lot of liability if you were going to do something like that. Let me get down here. The answers, that's probably true. And that would be excruciating pain. We almost had ours here. And I don't understand how they get by with it. I guess it's because it's public-private. We have a federal law that says that you cannot unionize if you are a government employee. And I don't know how we're getting by with all these unions in the government. They're calling them associations instead of unions. And theoretically, that's getting by with it. But in my opinion, it's against the law. I don't know about the multi-fuel oven. I do know about I guess you could call it a multi-fuel oven in the fact that it has a chamber off to the side where you can put charcoal into it, or you could put some biomass in there that burns. Is that what you're talking about, Kaylin? Because it has the bottom area where you can put the Instafire, or not the Instafire, but the canisters, the heating canisters, or off to the side, it has that trough where you can put things that are burnable in there to provide the heat for it. Is that what you're talking about, it being multi-fuel? We may be talking about the same thing. Creative Redundancy, good evening. Good to see you. Yeah, number 10 penny nail would be about the right size. I think, when you consider that an artery is probably that big around, okay, and that's the only thing I would want to cauterize would be an artery. I wouldn't want to cauterize a venal bleed. I'd probably, that's going to cause more damage than what you're solving. But an arterial bleed, yeah, you might do that. But a knife tip could do that so easily. That's something that's very easy to do without doing too much more damage. A Fishing Queen, good evening. I haven't seen you before. Welcome. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. So let me see here. Okay, anything else? Wow. Yes, the Provident Prepper, Kayleen and or Kai, what's her name? I think it's Kayleen, and Jonathan, I think, is her husband, on Provident Prepper. Great channel. I strongly recommend it to all of you. They are LDS preppers. They are on the board of directors for the American Civil Defense Association, TACTA. Where's my TACTA badge? It's up here somewhere. I'm a member of TACTA because of them. I don't know where it is. Where's my TACTA stuff? Oh my gosh. Anyhow, it should be up there somewhere. TACTA, the American Civil Defense Association. I get their semi-annual magazine. I always show it when it comes in. Really great articles. It's very, Kathleen and Jonathan, thank you. Or Kayleen and Jonathan, yeah. Anyhow, thank you, Kayleen, that's correct. You are right. But great channel. I strongly recommend them. Subscribe to them. Black subscribe. Get anything and everything they put out. It's always fantastic to see anything they put out. Well, and you and I are kind of in agreement, Theoxorus. I believe that if we do go nuclear, it'll be air bursts. I don't think anybody's going to be stupid enough to do a whole bunch of surface bursts. I don't think we want to have the results of that. So yeah, I think that we'll try to keep it from going there. If anybody does a surface burst, if anybody does unwanted use of nukes, I think it'll be North Korea and Iran. I hope that both of them are taken out of the party here fairly early. Have you seen the videos of the North Korean soldier that was loaned to Russia? They had a battalion. No, I'm sorry, it was a company. They had a company of North Korean engineers that were supposed to be building bunkers or something for the defense of Kursk. And the Russians told them to go to the front of the line. They didn't have weapons or anything else. They used them basically as cannon fodder, trying to use up Ukrainian drones and other ammunitions. And there's only one North Korean left alive to tell the story. What he has to say about the Russians and about Putin, and he says, I know that our great leader didn't lie to us, that this is all Putin and the Russians. The Koreans are up in arms about what the Russians did to the Korean soldiers. So there's a lot of animosity there right now, at least according to this interview with this one remaining Korean soldier who only has one eye left. They got wiped out by drones and artillery like you would not believe. Yes and no. So yes, but why would you take out a hollow or an empty silo? Because the minute something launches and we see it on over the horizon radar, we're going to launch. So all of their silos will be empty. All of our silos will be empty. So why would anybody launch a surface burst against an empty silo, knowing the repercussions of it? So I kind of have just difference of opinion. I have a feeling nobody's going to do any. Now, if I did surface burst, if I were a Russian targeting officer, and I'm not, I was an American targeting officer. So if I were a Russian targeting officer and I were going to hit somewhere, I would hit the Camp David, the underground bunker underneath in DC. I would hit Cheyenne Mountain. I would hit, some of those other underground command and control points with surface bursts. But those probably maybe 4 or 5 max. I don't think I'd use surface burst on anything else. So all the rest of it would pretty much be air burst. Okay, tornadoes and severe storms. We're getting into the book, the Prepper's Workbook. The link to buy this is in the description down below. Strongly recommend this book. Here's something I find very interesting. Look at that map. Each dot is a historical tornado. Look at me in Texas. Look at Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Oh my gosh, as well as Missouri and Arkansas. And then going over into Mississippi. Oh my gosh, we are in Tornado Valley. As a matter of fact, 2 of the strongest tornadoes to hit the U.S. have both occurred within an hour of where I live. And one of them was up where my sister lives, up in Gerald. That was an F5, very slow moving F5, broke into 3. I was working at Dell here in Round Rock when that one broke up. And one of those, the F5 broke up into 3, and one of them was an F1, F2 that came down I-35 right by Dell headquarters. And so they evacuated us down into the basement because we're kind of on the side of a hill. But the basement's one side is glass wall. The other 3 are berm. But I said, I don't want to be down here, not if a tornado's coming. So I went inside the bathroom. But anyhow, one of them went down the street behind my house. And then the other one went over into Cedar Park, Leander. And there was a Randall's food store there. And the store manager saw the tornado coming, and he got all the customers and all of his employees inside their cooler, their large meat locker. And that's what kept them. It tore the entire place apart. The only place that was left was the cooler. And so he saved everybody there. And, that's not a cooler. Now it is a Harbor Freight. They didn't rebuild it. Okay, so understanding how tornadoes are generated, understanding how to keep your eye on the weather. Make sure you get a good NOAA capable radio. This is a multi-band. This has got like 8 different bands to include NOAA. If you get this is a Baofeng UV15. This is my GMRS radio. This has, I turn them off when I'm here. But if you take this button right here on the far right and push it and hold it,
gusts up to 30 miles per hour. night, partly cloudy. Lows in the low.
So that's got a NOAA, and that's continuously updating on the GMRS radio. So I can continuously listen to the weather, NOAA weather coming off of that radio, and that's great. So make sure you have ways of staying in contact with your local weather radios or weather stations, so they can do things. We do have a radar. I believe it's just northeast of Georgetown, up by Lake Granger. But they are quite often, when they do the tornado radars here in town in Austin, they'll show like 4 or 5 different weather radars, Doppler radars. And so one of them, I think, is up real close to us, up close to Granger Lake. 10 simple steps to increasing a home's survival in a tornado. These are fantastic pieces of advice that goes into really great detail on them. Trim the trees and shrubs around your house. You don't want to have anything that's going to break off and become a flying object. Same thing with a nuclear explosion. If you're not thrown, it's going to throw things at you. Well, in a tornado, if you're not thrown, it's going to throw all kinds of debris at you. So the best thing to do is get rid of as much debris around your house as possible. Creative redundancy is asking a question. What's the difference between a watch and a warning? A watch means that the conditions, as far as updraft, temperature variations, cyclonic formations in the air and the Doppler radar is showing that there is a convection that is appropriate for the formation of a tornado. So it just means the conditions are ripe. One could occur. Whereas a warning says it has happened and we have seen it and it is actually touching the ground. So once the tornado's tail touches the ground, it switches from a watch to a warning. And that means there is an active an active tornado on the ground, and it is of danger. Seek shelter immediately. So that's the difference between the two. Methane Creator was sent to Gerald as a response member. Unbelievable devastation, and that was where my sister lived, in that manufactured home community, we shall call it. Yeah, it was so bad. They found a cow that had been flayed. Asphalt was taken up off the streets. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He says it right there. Yeah. It even sucked the asphalt off the streets. I mean, it was a devastating F5. So number 2, secure outdoor furniture and other items. Same thing. You don't want any flying projectiles. Replace landscaping gravel and small rocks. Instead, use chip, bark, or rubberized stuff. The difference is you don't want rocks being bullets thrown at you. You'd much rather have a piece of wood or some rubber granules thrown at you. That just makes more sense. Consider installing tornado roofing. I did not know that it existed, but I guess it does if he says so. Secure heavy furniture such as bookcases to the walls. The guy that lives across the street used to be the organist or keyboard player for the Playboy Mansion in Hollywood, or in California, Los Angeles. And they were away on vacation when the Northridge earthquake struck, and they got home from the holidays, and a bookshelf had fallen onto his daughter's bed, and it would have fallen right on top of her head had they been home in bed when that happened. So that convinced him to leave the earthquake-prone valley of Los Angeles and move to Round Rock. When he got to Round Rock, of course, same thing. Make sure that anything that bookcases or anything like that, if you're in a tornado-prone area, the tornadoes are going to push those things or vibrate them or whatever. Things can fall on top of you. Make sure you have all that kind of taken care of. Identify the safest exiting area room in your home or apartment. You want to stay as central as possible. Make sure you got something that is a frame above you. So door frames are great. Bathrooms are great. Of course, plumbing's great. If you are especially in the bathtub or something like that, stay away from any kind of windows, because the windows, of course, the blast of air can burst those windows. Then glass becomes, it'll cut the living daylights out of you. Identify the safest exit area. There we go. Build a reinforced safe room if you can afford it. Install or build an underground tornado shelter. I had my cousin's son was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and that's outside of Lawton, Oklahoma, southwest corner, getting close to the Texas Panhandle area. And there, it's a city code that every house has to have a tornado shelter in the backyard. When I was at Fort Sill, I was with the 337th ASA company in, I want to say it was probably 1975. The Army was coming out with a system called TACFire. And so it was a digital system where a forward observer could plug in a target and then type it into this machine. Then it would encrypt it and digitize it and send it, send it out to the battery control center. Then that would come up on the battery control center operator's screen. He could then do all the calculations for the battery to do their fire on target, and then they would fire onto the target. So it's just a better way, a more accurate way, a faster way, a more secure way of getting targeting information to the battery fire control center. And so we were tasked, I had a Glick 3 and a Toki 17, which are both jammers. And I was tasked with a platoon to go down to Fort Sill for that summer, see if we could jam TACFire. And so while we were there, we had a tornado come through. Oh man, that was something else. That was not an experience I want to replicate in my life. We had a GP medium tent, and the gust of wind came in, and it took the tent up into the air, popped every rope, stake, everything else, and then the tent just kind of pancaked and floated back down on top of us. And it was something else. That was quite an experience. Prepare to bug out. Make sure you have an evacuation plan where you're going to go. That's where when you pay attention to the weather, as well as if we're talking about nukes, part of my ritual every morning is go to windy windy.com. Here, let's do that right now. I want to show you something. It'll show you the prevailing winds so that you know which direction to go if a nuke happens, because you know which way the fallout's going to be. So let me get back over here. Now that I've got that up, we can go here, and I'll share screen again. Okay, so let me get over to Windy and let me get this a little bit closer so you can actually see the. Okay, now we're there. Now, how do I get this to where I think I can hit the plus button? Anyhow, you can play with it. I just leave it like this. But if you see the winds right now for me are coming down out of the north. So they're coming down from Dallas. So if a nuke was to go off right here in San Antonio, while I'm up here in Austin, I'm pretty safe from any fallout from that nuke. I would say I'm pretty safe from anything coming down from this area. Now, there's a lot of people who think that Fort Hood is going to be a nuclear target. As a targeting officer, I will tell you, they're a paperweight. Fort Hood is a paperweight. 3rd Corps, 1st Cav, 1st Armored, 3rd Armored, 3rd Corps. They're paperweights. If they take out all of our strategic assets, there's nothing they can do to fight the enemy. I mean, you can't. There's only so far you can shoot a 120 millimeter shell. There's only so far you can shoot an 8-inch howitzer, M109 Paladin, or a 155. Maybe 30 miles max. So that's not a strategic asset. They're not going to waste a nuke on that. That's not going to threaten them at all if they aren't taken care of. So I don't think there are going to be any nukes at all on any of our maneuver forces. Now, air fighter bases, SAC bases, Minuteman silos, things like that. Maybe Minuteman silos, probably not, because, like I said, there'll be empty tubes. But the B-52 bases and things like that, our strategic reserves, as far as the ability to airlift somebody or our ability to sea lift somebody, yes, those take out. If you take out one port that has all of our transports on it, then all 12 divisions are worthless because they can't be moved. If you take out our aircraft, we did the calculations, and to move one armored division, if we have continuous flights of all of our available C-17s and C-5s, And at that time, we also had C-141 still in the inventory. But if we use all those assets, all of our KC-135s, it takes 17 days to move one division from Fort Hood, Texas to Europe, to Rhein-Main, Frankfurt. That's assuming there are no mechanical breakdowns and there's no aircraft battle damage. So if we start losing aircraft due to mechanical breakdowns or battle damage, or we start running out of fuel, it's going to take a lot more than 17 days. So I don't think our maneuver units are going to be targeted. Just my personal opinion. Okay. Let me get here. Yeah, that's what I'm using, Kaylin. It's all tabletop. I mean, all handhelds. F4 and F5 tornadoes will sweep a house all the way down the. Yes, absolutely, Pete. You're absolutely right. And don't try to outrun them in front of them because you never know the speed that they're going to go. Do 90 degrees from if they're coming at you from the north, go either east or west. Don't go the same direction or opposite or 180 degrees from the tornado into it. You want to go either 90 or 270 from the tornado. Then he has a tornado-specific survival kit, all kinds of contents as far as a checklist of all kinds of things you might want to have in your house that would be good to have. What to do before, during, and after a tornado event. What to expect in the survival aftermath of a tornado. What are some of the things that would happen? I will tell you there's a couple things I want to recommend, a couple tools. One of them is a winter tool. It's not necessarily a tornado tool. Make sure you get one of those wrenches. And it's a stand-up wrench, and it has two prongs on it that you use to cut off your water supply out in the front yard. In case your water freezes, I will tell you, I had a house that was built on a foundation. It was on a berm, and there was a 17-foot drop between the northeast corner and the southwest corner on the house. So the southwest corner was supposed to have an outside water bib right at ground level, 2 feet above ground level. Well, it ended up being 10 feet above ground level. And I said, hey guys, how am I going to water? So they put an extension pipe on it. Well, that extension pipe, of course, froze and broke. And so I needed to turn off the water during the freeze. I didn't have one of those big hand power deals. So here I am down on my hands and knees in the snow and ice trying to cut off the water because once it thaws, I'm going to lose all kinds of stuff. And so don't do that. Just be smart. Get one of those big handheld water shutoff valves. The reason I say that is because I'm going to do a video on that, a short on that here shortly. The other one you want to have all the time for any house everywhere, get a non-conductive, non-sparking gas meter shutoff tool. It's a wrench and it's magnesium so that it doesn't cause any sparks. If you have any kind of a gas leak and you go outside to turn your gas meter off and you create a spark, you've just blown up your house. So you want something that's non-conductive, non-sparking, and that way when you turn it off, you don't have any sparks, you're not going to ignite any fire, then get out of the area as soon as possible. I have, just so happens, I was going to talk about this in another short, make sure you get a gas detector. So I'm really up on these detector things. We got smoke detectors, gas detector. Of course, you know I keep my carbon monoxide detector over here. So you know I'm really big. I've got my radiation detector here. So you know I've got all these detectors. I guess I'm kind of paranoid that something's going to go wrong. But anyhow, gas, radiation, carbon monoxide, smoke detectors. I get them. Just get them and keep them around. That's the best thing you can do. Let me see here. Tornado survival outside of the house. A lot of people get underneath the overpasses on a freeway. Be careful if it goes to that overpass, and then you're just going to become mush if it falls on top of you. The best thing to do is get to a building or get into a ditch. That's going to be your safest thing. And then the last thing it says is do tornado drills and practice. I was watching another video. And Methane Creator sent this one to me as well. But it was a 20 lessons learned or 20 fatal mistakes that modern preppers make, or something. I forget what it's called. But anyhow, one of the things it said was, that number one was overconfidence and complacency, that we think that if we have the tools, that's going to save us, even though we don't know how to use them. It gives a couple examples, like, it's okay to have one of these things, but if you haven't gone out and learned how to do this thing, there was a picture of, what's his name, Waltz, who was running for vice president. There was a picture of him out shotgun bird hunting, and he didn't even know how to load his shotgun. So he was trying to tell people he was a hunter, but he didn't even know how to load a pump shotgun. So, things like that give it away. If you haven't practiced with it, if you don't know how to use it, then the tool is really worthless to you. Use it now. Practice with it now before you need it. That's the same thing with turning off your water. Same thing with knowing where your water turn off is, knowing where your gas turn off is, knowing how to turn it off and turn it back on. And it's not, sometimes if you haven't done it this year, that could be frozen, and you may have to play with it to get it to work. It could, have a little bit of grime in there. It could have maybe a little bit of rust. There could be all kinds of different things that says it's not going to be easy to open or close. Go out there once a year, do a little bit of preventive maintenance, open them, shut them, learn how to do it. Practice makes perfect. Same thing with tornado drills. Practice with your family. What are you going to do in case of? Where do you go? Do you have blankets or anything like that to cover yourselves with, to protect yourself from any flying debris? Probably one of the biggest things we have here in this area are hailstorms. I had a car totaled by a hailstorm, and then we had in the kitchen a big skylight, and we were away. Helen and I were away. I think we were at a fair, and my daughter was home alone, and there was a hailstorm, and there was a softball-sized piece of hail came through our skylight and landed right in the island in the middle of the kitchen, and just scared the living daylights out of her. We got a phone call, but yeah, we end up having home insurance here is fairly expensive because we probably end up with a new roof about every 4 or 5 years due to hail damage. So that's another big one you have. That kind of begs another question, and that is, we're talking about preparing for a tornado. What do you do how do you repair your home if there's minor damage in a post-apocalyptic world when you have a tornado or hail damage? How are you going to waterproof that roof after hail damage, or after a tornado blows away some of the shingles? Or what are you going to do to replace windows? Do you have any extra plywood about? How you bar things up, how you protect yourself, how you create an environment where you can stay warm in the winter after some sort of a weather event like hailstorm, severe rain, or a tornado. So those are all questions that have to be asked and answered, I think, as you develop your plan for a post-apocalyptic world. So let me catch up with the chat, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so watch means it can happen, and warning means it is happening. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. We had 50-mile-an-hour winds here today. So, Wright, Wyoming had a bad tornado years back. Ironically, that was my ex's maiden name, and she and the tornado were related. I was when I had my disaster response company right after Katrina, we didn't have any work for quite a while, so I started using my trailer to go to drag boat races and motorcycle what do they call them? Outings, and then I would go up to Texas Motor Speedways and sell food up there. And but one of the things I was looking at was they were looking for people to serve food up in Pineville, Wyoming, Pineville. It's just south of the ski area, but evidently they're doing a lot of shale oil drilling there, and Halliburton has the primary contract up there. And they said that they can't. There's one hotel that's rented by Halliburton for the next 20 years or something, and but they can't keep fast food workers. because they'll bring in a fast food worker and Halliburton will hire them away at twice the pay. Anyhow, I was thinking about going up there, and somebody said, no, you don't want to go to Wyoming. Wyoming's worse than Alaska in the winter. So I took their word at that. Holly, take care. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so late in the chat that I've missed you, but just be aware that we hope things go well for you, and that everybody stays safe. Polycarbonate storm windows, great idea. A grab kit. Some people call it a go kit. Just various things. I keep my get home bag in my pickup. And so that's basically my go bag as well. So it's everything I need for 3 days. So if you actually get straight line winds, 70 miles an hour, yeah, it can be horrendous. Oh, wow. What a great suggestion, Little Lone Prepper. Yeah, the bike helmets are a fantastic suggestion. I have my CERT helmet. And then, of course, I was a consultant to several different electric co-ops. So I have electricians' hard hats and or electrical worker lineman hard hats is basically what they are. So I have several of those around. We can put one on everybody. And then that's basically the same style of hard hat that I have for my CERT helmet. So we have all those here. That's what we use is basically a construction worker, hard hats. I guess it'd be a way to club, but bike helmet's a fantastic suggestion. Thank you for adding that. Thank you, KP Heathen. Good to see you. I don't know if I've said welcome. Let me see. Shenanigans, good evening. Good to see you, sir. Let me see. No, creative redundancy is a sir. Shenanigans is she. I'm sorry. So Keelan says she doesn't have access to gas and water shutoffs. That can be a problem for renters. Yes, that can be. A lot of people in the Texas freeze didn't know where the shutoff was. Hence, you're absolutely correct. That's why now is the time to find out where your shutoffs. I would say there are three main things you want to know for your house, and you want to make sure everybody in your household knows where they are. Your gas shutoff, nowhere, and as I say these, you can say it's 6 because you've got the gas shutoff, you got the gas shutoff tool, okay? And so my gas shutoff tool and my water shutoff tool are both together. And then water shutoff valve, where is that? And then the third one is, where is your electric main? So where do you pull that one plug that's going to stop all the electricity coming into your home? Because electrical shorts can also be another source of fire in the event of a tornado or some other earthquake or any other kind of natural cataclysmic event. Yeah, now remember, in the winter, well, here in Texas, we're weird because we get freezes so seldom that our pipes are only like 8 to 12 inches below the surface of the earth. Whereas up north, your pipes are a lot deeper because you have a freeze that goes down a lot deeper. For us to have snow on the ground more than 4 hours is very unusual. So we don't have very far. Our pipes aren't very deep. Okay. So what we typically do when we're aware, they tell us whether it's going to be a freeze or a hard freeze. So if it's a freeze, we really don't worry about it that much. We'll put maybe, like, I'll go back here into the back corner of the house where we have a bathroom, and I'll put the water on a slow drip. And as long as you've got running water going through the house, that'll keep it from freezing. So you just need the water current. Now, if it's going to be a hard freeze, then we do other measures. Like I may have the hand warmers. You know what I'm talking about? You break them, and it causes a chemical reaction. It causes them to warm. Put those on the pipes. That works great. I wouldn't want to have anything that has a flame. So like a candle, nothing where the woodwork's going to catch on fire, but anything that has a chemical heating that is not going to get to the burn point of any of the other combustibles around there is a good thing to have. You can also wrap those. I know one family who what they did was they had some electric heating pad for their back, and they plugged it in, and then they hung it kind of like a curtain over the open. They opened the doors to their kitchen sink, and then hung a heating pad in front of that so that they could keep that warm. Chemical heating pads wouldn't be bad either. I would just worry about your apartment, to be honest with you. Unless you're on the ground floor, then you got to worry about the people upstairs, because when those pipes bust and it thaws, it's all going to come down on top of you. That's the disadvantage of being on the ground floor. Wow. Look at that. A house and a life was lost due to a gas leak 250 feet away in Utah 10 days ago. Unbelievable. Yep. Yeah, gas leaks happen, people, and make sure you don't cause any sparks when that does. And please don't smoke anywhere close to it. Let me see. Duct tape helps, yes, as far as insulating and keeping it from, but not that great. Scott doesn't like gas. The house came standard with electrical appliances, and I said, I want gas. I want a gas stove, an oven, and I want gas for my dryer. I didn't want electricity. So I prefer gas. Now, if you can get propane, propane is fantastic. That's the next comment from Utah Mike, I believe. Yep. So natural gas, no, he's talking about natural gas, which is what I have. Propane is great as well. The only thing I don't like about propane is having, a 500-pound tank or, a 5,000-pound tank in the backyard. I don't care for that much at all. Depends. Yes, they gave me Mind Methane Creator. City. I'm a member of the City of Cedar Park cert. Although John just recently decided that with all the new stuff that's coming down from FEMA, that they're not doing CERT anymore, that it's going to be a homegrown version. And he and, what's her name? She's from South Africa who runs the CERT program. John is the Emergency Services Director for Cedar Park. But anyhow, they've decided that they're going to go with a homegrown version of CERT simply because of all the restrictions that FEMA's come down with as far as what requirements of what they have to do. I'm also a member of ARES, which is the Amateur Radio Emergency Services. And so we have to take all the FEMA classes. We have to take 0100 through 0800 in order to get our name badge to say that we're a authorized ARES member. So Kaylin, that's a big difference. So we're 8 to 10 inches and you're 3 to 4 feet. So big difference. Let me see if I'm doing anything else. All right. Amanda Sue, good evening. Welcome. Good to see you. So that's pretty much it. What are we going to do next week? I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And keep your heads open to the news. This thing is ramping up. Germany and France have both talked about deploying troops into Ukraine. This thing is expanding. I mean, we've got North Korean troops being wiped out. We've got all kinds of things going on. Don't be afraid, but at the same time, be very, very cautious and prep what you can. Now's the time to start checking things. So I don't know if I told you or not, but a week ago tonight, I went back in the back room and I had a hankering. My mom could not cook to save her life, poor thing. But one of the things that she did fix, I really liked, probably the only thing she fixed, was a combination scalloped potatoes and ham. And so I asked Helen if we could do this. She said, yeah, go get a package of scalloped potatoes out of the back room. Well, I found these scalloped potatoes that I hadn't vacuum sealed, and they were from 2018 or 2019. And I said, well, we'll try them. So we tried them. I ended up in the bathroom the entire next day. So that was not a good idea. So I went in and I cleaned out all of the scalloped potatoes and our gratin potatoes and macaroni and cheese and milk and heavy cream that I did not reseal, did not re-vacuum seal. Man, the trash can is full for tomorrow. So now I got to go back and do that. So make sure you're rotating your stock, keeping up on everything. Make sure that you're checking your equipment, that it works, that it's current. Make sure you have fresh batteries. Make sure that if you can get some sort of a battery recharger, a small portable solar generator or solar collector and voltage regulator to recharge your batteries is all you need, or a crank radio or something to keep you up with the radio, the weather, news, things like that if they are available. Just go through that checklist. Do all the things over again that you've been doing so well for so long. Check and make sure your thingies are readily available, that they're zeroed, that you know how to load them, that you know how to use them, because there's nothing worse than something you're supposed to use to defend yourself that can be turned against you if you don't know how to use it. That's a very, very unwise mistake. Anubia and Akira, good evening. Welcome. Good to see you. Okay, so next week we're going to talk about tropical storms and hurricanes, but I just want to encourage you, be great. Oh, you know what I want to do? Methane Creator has a line on his emails I want to read. I love this. I want to copy it. I'm going to steal it. Let me get to your emails here, Methane Creator. And then Art Simmons has sent me an email about World War III news. We'll see what that is. I like this. Okay, so here's what he says. He says, gold is the money of kings. Silver is the money of gentlemen. Barter is the money of peasants. And debt is the money of slaves. So if you can, get out of debt. Find out what is it that you have that's going to be of value to other people. Make sure you have what you need first before you worry about what you're going to have of value to other people. It gets me that people will buy things to barter, and they're going to be bartering for the things they didn't get because they were buying barter things instead of getting what they needed. Get what you need first, and then worry about barter later. You know what? If you think you're going to need it, chances are everybody else is going to need it too. So that's going to be what they want. If you need antibiotics, they're going to need antibiotics. If you want food, they'll need food. I wouldn't worry about getting things saying, I plan on trading this for food because I didn't get food before the chance. Just get what you need. Don't worry about barter. It'll all come naturally. When it happens, and just do that. Pete, I still got to get up. We got to go do another chicken fried steak dinner together. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed meeting you and seeing you and your company. And we'll probably have to go to the range. Oh, by the way, Pete, I will send you the information. Bell County Emergency Preparedness Group is having a swap meet. I believe it's the 7th. No, it's the 14th. The 14th of December in Harker Heights. And it's going to be all the preppers in that area and all their excess gear and their trading. One of the guys has found a GMRS base station for me that I'm going to trade for. So, I mean, there's all kinds of good stuff going on there. I'll get you the information, but would love. Why don't we get together there? Maybe we can stop in Harker Heights and or in Killeen and get a Korean lunch together. I'd love that. I'd love some good bulgogi. But anyhow. Gosh, guys, you know what? I think we're going to come back tomorrow night. I don't have class tomorrow night. I'm not teaching. We got a break for Thanksgiving. We may just come back tomorrow night and just do a free-for-all. I may get a couple of you good-looking people on here with me. I'll share a link. We can just have a family chat and say, hey, what are we doing to prepare? What are some of the things that you think are essential that I have forgotten? Because, I know you guys come up with good suggestions and tips and thoughts all the time. And we need to get you on here and share that with other people as well, because gosh, what a great group of people we have. Okay, so let me move my radio. We're going to go to Book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, and 26. I've got it tabbed right here. And it says, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and grant you peace. So with that, I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Okay. And please be safe. Remember to pay attention to what's going on around you. Enjoy Thanksgiving. We have so much to be thankful for. So much. Even with what's happened the last 4 years, I'm still thankful that I am here and not in 95% of the rest of the world. we are in a far better position than a lot of the world. Not as good as we would like for it to be, but we're in a far better position than the rest of the world. So I'm very happy that I am an American. I'm very happy that I'm a Texan, and I'm very happy that I'm a Christian. So remember, we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Please continue in your wonderful efforts to be kind, polite, and respectful to each other, because togetherness is the only thing that's going to see us through. Take care, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. If you want to come on, I'll have a link. Click on it. We'll get you in the back room. We'll get you on. And then that way we can all talk about it together. Fioxers, I would love to see you on here with me. Methane Creator, you too. Triple G, Pete, any of you that want to come on, we'll just have a chat. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. If I can get my computer to work, come on. You're supposed to change to a hand. Why aren't you changing to a hand? There we go. Okay, hand. There's the pointer finger. Bye-bye.